The VAT controller preferred steam engines on his railway, but he found diesels useful because they could pull either coaches or trucks. "You're versatile," he would say to them. "Real mixed traffic engines." BoCo was very proud of this, but James was not impressed. He liked BoCo, but he treated all other diesels with deep suspicion. "Diesels don't use coal and water," he would say. "How can you trust an engine who isn't normal in his habits?" Visiting diesels would often boast about how superior they were, and BoCo would spend the next day soothing hurt feelings. One day, a diesel that the VAT controller's engines were all too familiar with arrived from the other railway. When he saw that he was to share the shed with the steam engines, he stopped outside in disgust and refused to go any further. "Why on earth does your controller continue to keep such out-of-date machinery?" he growled rudely. "Dirty, filthy, smoky things. Ugh!" The engines glared. "On our railway," the diesel continued loftily, "steam engines are kept strictly in their place and aren't allowed on the main line without special permission." BoCo, who had been asked to show the diesel around, lost patience. "Stay outside then if you're so proud about it," he snapped. "I'm going to join my friends." "I hope it's cold tonight and he can't start in the morning," snorted James. "At least someone might want to preserve us. Who needs him? Old stuck-up." James was glad when morning came. He went to fetch his train as early as he could, and the diesel was left alone. "That's better," he purred to himself. "How can an engine rest with all that hissing and clanking?" However, the diesel was so full of himself that he had forgotten he would need to refuel in the shed before he went home. "If I go in now while the shed is empty," he said to himself, "no one will know I've been." He scuttled forward onto the turntable and towards the shed as quickly as he could. Too quickly. The rails where BoCo had stood were oily, and when he tried to stop, he couldn't. He shut his eyes as with a despairing yell of horror, he crashed through the wall at the back of the shed. The diesel wasn't badly damaged, but a dreadful draft came through the hole in the wall. When the other engines came home, they heard the story from Douglas, who had cleared up the mess. "Ha ha ha," laughed James. "So old Stuck-up came unstuck, did he?" "Here, BoCo, what is it that controller calls you?" "Versatile," chuckled BoCo. "But that isn't what he called Stuck-up. I couldn't hear everything he said, but it didn't sound very polite."